Yesterday, I had a big day in Jerusalem. If you're following me on Instagram, you might already know about it. I anchored a news show. I filled in as an anchor for a show called Israel Now News, which is a weekly broadcast that goes out to some 50 million viewers on cable stations across the world. Then I took a special tour that I was invited on by an organization called High On The Har. Rabbi Yehuda Levi took me up. He showed me the Temple Mount in the old city of Jerusalem. I'll give you some insights from the experience and some details about how it all works. Have you heard about the Temple Mount? Well, it's considered to be the third holiest site in Islam after Mecca and Medina, and the number one holiest site in Judaism. It is so holy. This is the location where the Holy Temple once stood. Yes, the Jewish people used to have one large holy temple. In fact, there were two, and they were both destroyed. The Temple Mount is believed to be the location where the physical world meets the spiritual heavens. The last temple was destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE. Muslims believe that the Dome of the Rock, which houses the Sakra stone, is the location where Muhammad journeyed to the heavens. The Umayyads, a ruling family, built the Dome of the Rock in 692 over the spot of the Holy of Holies, which was located at the peak of Mount Moriah. This is also the location where Abraham nearly sacrificed his son Isaac, but was then stopped by God. Jews never believed in human sacrifice, by the way, and this was sort of the first mention of it, that we don't do that. The Al-Aqsa Mosque was completed in 715 CE and is located to the south of the Temple Mount, okay? So we have two things going on here. We have the place of the previous Holy Temple, and we have the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is all in this one compound. We have Jewish and we have Muslim. Today, the Temple Mount is in the custody of the Jordanian Waqf, and it is a point of controversy. It's on Israeli land, but it is controlled under the custody of Jordan. Muslims have full access to the site, but non-Muslims are only permitted to enter the compound on the mountain at specified times throughout the day. When Jews go up, there sometimes can be riots. Though Wednesday, I went up for the second time. This time I went up on a different type of an experience. I was with a religious Jewish group, and they had a special police escort. Non-Muslims are not supposed to worship or pray or utter any words of prayer or show any symbols of their religion on the mountain. I, last time, was asked to hide my Star of David necklace. I did not wear it this time. You have to cover up out of respect when you go there. So if you don't have the right materials, you'll be given some fabrics to throw over your pants. In 2017, 2 police officers were murdered in a terror attack on this site. And there is a big photo showing their pictures and reminding people that this happened. So when you are going through security to go up to the compound, you'll see their faces in a photo. Most recently, the right-wing leader Itamar Ben-Gvir went up for a walk around the compound. It made international headlines despite he had been doing this many times in the past. Now that he has become the national security minister and a member of Knesset, Arab leaders say that this was an incitement. The news went crazy. Ben-Gvir has been arrested for making incitements against Arabs in the past, and he has a reputation for that. Many Jews that I saw come up to the mountain made silent prayers off to the side, and they left when their time was out. They had to. They were with a police escort, and the police were pretty strict. There are sections where the temple used to stand that many Jews do not go to or go near because it is forbidden by Jewish law without the proper sacrifices and preparations. The compound is full of ancient history with pillars and rocks and even marble slabs of stone that used to actually be the floor of the Jewish Holy Temple. It's crazy. The pieces are just out there. You can touch them. You can walk by them thousands of years later. It is so cool. I do have to say the compound is not very well kept. There was a lot of garbage around, and I thought that it could use a little TLC, some tender love and care. The gold dome itself of the Al-Aqsa Mosque is very impressive. You can see it from most places in the compound. Many Muslim families use these large spaces to do picnics, and you'll see a lot of youth playing soccer games. I asked the guide Rabbi Levi a few questions about how the space works in terms of the authorities, because there was an Israeli police presence, but it's under custodian of the Jordanian Waqf. So I wanted to understand how that works and who's allowed to come and why this is such a special place. So I'm going to let you listen to what he had to say.
So the Islamic Waqf are in charge of the administration of the Temple Mount. They set the opening hours for non-Muslims and set the rules of how non-Muslims are allowed to visit the Temple Mount, such as how they're allowed to act, where they're allowed to walk, if their clothing meets the Islamic requirements, etc. The Israeli police are in charge of security of the Temple Mount, not unlike being in charge of security anywhere else within the land of Israel. They make sure that anybody who comes to the Temple Mount is doing so in a safe and secure manner. In addition, the Israeli police also escort the religious Jewish groups on the Temple Mount for 3 reasons. 1, to keep them safe, and for that we're eternally grateful. Number 2, to prevent Jews from inadvertently entering into an area that is forbidden by Jewish law. And number 3, to prevent Jews from doing anything that they deem provocative. For the most part, police officers on the Temple Mount are either Jewish or Druze, who have the ability to speak both Hebrew and Arabic fluently. Every day during opening hours, there are many Jewish groups that go visit the Temple Mount, including my own organization, High On The Har, as well as Yeshivat Harabayit. As you experienced with us, our group is very respectful and follows all the rules of the police. We do not antagonize anybody and don't make any trouble. The Arabs know that we're there. The Waqf follows our group around, and there is generally zero conflict between our group and the Islamic Waqf, who see us daily, who know that we're there. There are no shouts of Allahu Akbar or any sort of open protest against our group. In fact, for the most part, the so-called tensions that happen daily on the Temple Mount don't exist. They're basically a creation of the Palestinian narrative, which wants to see the Temple Mount remain only in Muslim hands. However, the Jewish worshippers who go up are hoping to gain access and freedom of religion for all, as is technically Israeli law, that there should be freedom of religion in all locations within the country, and specifically on the Temple Mount, which Isaiah calls a house of prayer for all nations. Judaism believes that it is an inherent human right for every human being created in the image of God to connect and communicate with their Creator. And since the Torah and the Talmud tells us that the ideal place of prayer is on the Temple Mount, we believe that all people, Jews, Christians, Muslims, should have equal rights to be able to pray and to serve God on the Temple Mount. While the Muslims would advocate for only Muslim freedom on the Temple Mount and everybody else is delegated to a status of a visitor, someone who can see but not participate, Judaism, on the other hand, believes that every human being has the right to participate, to communicate, and to serve God at the Holy Temple, and that is what we advocate for, both us at High On The Har and all the other Temple Mount organizations.